Hello friends, and welcome to another Toy Lips figure review. On the chopping block for today, we have the Marvel Legends retro carded series, Rogue. Oh, this was so difficult to get. This is a Target exclusive, so you gotta find it on eBay. I'm kidding, I finally found one at Target after getting pre-orders canceled and so forth. If you shopped with online Target, you understand. Anyway, guys, if you're looking up behind me, you'll see my silly slim shelves and the conspicuously absent Anna Marie. So, this is huge for me. So, I've also got the Gambit, scored that thing, and the Cyborg Spider-Man all in one shot, and they shipped in a friggin' day. Oh, there wasn't a bunch of back and forth about confirming delays and then a flat-out cancellation, maybe blaming me. You know how they do. You know how they do. I've been to the stores and asked them, and they're like, we don't have anything to do with this. And one lady was nice enough to give me a number to complain to. What am I even talking about? We're talking about this toy here, man. We'll get a closer look at this package here. You know what I'm saying? No, we're going to do that in the next segment. This is just to show off my pearly whites. In a bit of big news, yesterday I got the tracking info for my Haslab Sentinel. Friday. Signature required, so I will be taking the day off of work, I guess. Kind of a big deal. Kind of a big deal. Stick around. Anyway, I want to thank you guys for being here, and let's get closer to the action. And here we are on the operating table. Check this thing out, man. These retro cards are so nice, and this is such a clean card. I often leave these on the card, but this is the quintessential 90s Rogue right here, man. She begs to be fisted. Do you know what I mean? Taking a look at the back, though, you can see these are styled just like these old, the old Toy Biz toys from when, well, I was a child anyway. Some of you are children. Wait, let's go ahead and get into this thing, yeah? Where are you going with that? Homer, you're not listening. What kind of world is this going to be as we move away from... God, who's seen those nasty looking Stranger Things vinyl toys that are just, stuck to the card back? I mean, ultimately, this stuff is so wasteful. I keep all the toy packaging in a separate bag, and it gets, sent away when there's room for it, man. I'm just a tiny garbage can. Whatever. Come hither. I love that on the packaging. It said it listed the power, as in the old school action feature. It said power absorption. Kids are like, "Aw, man, use your imagination." And here we have the ravishing Rogue released from her restraints. She was originally introduced as an X-Men villain back in 1981. And a couple of years later, she joins the X-Men. She is a power leech. She steals people's life energy through direct physical contact. In the case of mutants, she also absorbs their powers. The duration of this depends on the duration of the contact, things of that nature. When she was young, she held on to Carol Danvers' Miss Marvel for too long, absorbing her entire consciousness and her power set, giving her invulnerability, super strength, flight, leaving Miss Marvel in a coma for years. She had a couple of costumes in the comics before this, but this is probably her most iconic, her 1990s look designed by Jim Lee. And it is all the requisite deco. I remember standing against the lockers when I was 10 years old, man, and my buddy Tristram, he sort of said, we were talking about the X-Men, and he confides all quietly, and he's like, don't you think she looks like she's naked without the jacket on? It's like, yeah, kind of. Because they were just drawing muscular, naked bodies with, clothes painted on. You know what I mean? Ridiculous. Let's get a little closer here, huh? Look at that head sculpt. That's great. She's got this little headband that's fluttering in the wind a little bit. Nicely sculpted hair. You've got the white here. Could have a little wash. Doesn't even need it. It looks great. It looks great. We've got this jacket. It is a softer material and, of course, an overlay. If you were to tear these arms out of socket, you could pull this off of there. And have your nice naked Rogue. Less the sleeves. These are just best sculpted on there for the look. Got these really nicely detailed X's on the shoulders, though. Those are pretty clean. You can see some of the jacket through. I mean, that's minor. That's just what it is. If you were real OCD, you'd match this paint and just kind of touch it in there a little bit, but I don't trip. This little belt, this is definitely a rogue belt. It just kind of kicks off a little to the side, hangs with a little attitude, you know what I'm saying? Goes all the way around with all these nicely sculpted little pouches and things on there. Gloves, it's just a yellow painted fist, and we have this little collar overlay here. And here's the worst of my figure. It's just got a little bit of paint slop there. Interestingly, you could see these two spots here are a little darker, like maybe they tried to touch it up after, or it just happened in the factory, and they kind of missed the mark on this overlay for this boot, and that's what these are, just little soft plastic overlays. It's great, really. It's just this little band here too, the way that sits. They should sort of they just border the knee is how those are supposed to sit. Standard little feet. Thankfully, no weird heels or whatever weird crap they try to foist on the female figures. Going over the articulation here, the head is just on a ball peg. There's no swivel, which, you know, flying characters and all that. But this hair is so big and busy, you wouldn't get anything anyway. So they just stuck it on a peg. I mean, she looks really good. Were I to just pose her flying, it would be more like a frontal view, you know, anyway, just kind of floating there, looking intimidating. But she has this. She has the diaphragm joint here. This thing will rock all the way around. This is just on some kind of ball joint, you know what I mean? And so that's good. You get good range there for digging in, for twisting, for flying, for looking this way. You can this thing and that thing. Shoulder articulation here, pretty standard. There is no bicep cut, which is also sadly pretty standard. I mean, it's a coat. Just cut the friggin' coat. Who cares? You'll have all these crazy lines everywhere. Single jointed elbow, same gig. Could be a double, but it's working out. These typically you're not gonna see. You don't get a pin there anyway, which is nice. I mean, it looks fairly clean from any angle. It's gonna be able to come all the way up to the side at a 90. You could even go over and get real silly, rotate it up this way. It'll come straight up. It rotates all the way around. Same thing here with the nature of these single joints here. Crelbo, you gotta get your elbow in his crelbo. But that'll go all the way around. Same thing with the wrist. It's just pegged in there, and it's got this little hinge. Yeah. Same thing. It's gonna be the same thing on the other side, of course. Nothing at the waist, which is common. They should just put that on a little ball joint too, man. This is Hasbro. Think G.I. Joes. They know. But then you have this sort of cleaner looking torso. You have less articulation, breaking up the sculpt. I feel like Hasbro does a pretty good job of that. I mean, some of them, like, I think import figures get real carried away, like the quadruple crotched out Spider-Mans and whatever. It's just bizarre. Coming down here though, these are on ball pegs down here too for the thigh, standard. You get really good range with that. I mean, it doesn't come. It's not going to come straight up to a 90 just as is, but you can get real silly if you really needed something like that. You could just shift that in that way, and then you're here, and then you rotate the thigh cut. Can we understand the importance of this now? I know there are people who should be paying attention to this. So anyway, she's got good motion there, pretty standard. You're going to run into her rock hard butt cheeks. I mean, she obviously works out, right? So trying to go backwards. Double jointed knees. This overlay restricts you just a little bit, but she could still, you know, small of her back even. Coming down here, and then we have the standard back, forth, side rockers, so that they can. Why this is key, man, for the people here, for the one person on Earth who doesn't know this, is just so that you can widen a stance and still have your feet looking flat on the floor. For many years, poor bastards were having to spread their feet and just have them looking straight, and it's like, man, that's not believable as a human being at all. Who's standing like that? Just a simple little beauty. If you collect these figures, you know what to expect just by looking at her. I'm not upset about it at all. Always looking for more ways to get some good articulation without breaking up the sculpt too much, but man, does she ever look good. Optional parts with this figure are limited to just a couple of extra hands. Here we have this bare one as the display of her power. She could pull this glove with this hand that beautifully displays a crumpled up glove in it. Oh my dear, to your feet. Now let's get a little closer with that anyway. That's really nice. It's a fist holding a glove. I mean, brand new. You know, you get like three brand new pieces. It's great. And they just have the same hinges there. You just yank the other ones off and plug these in. And they are very, very easy to do. These guys have been doing this for a while. They get it. They're a little softer, a little gummier to facilitate such a thing. And here she is, just ready to ruin your day. That is awesome. It's so slight, but it's just perfect. I mean, she's not someone who needs to like pick up a big stick and swing it at you, or known for her array of firearms or whatever, you know. She flies and she hits hard, and she'll steal your powers. Of course, how Hasbro does, you know, if you've gotten other figures, say a Mystique or whatnot, you could swap on this admittedly crude head, but then you could pretend that it's Mystique disguising herself as Rogue. Which, who wouldn't want that? God, assuming that fits, right? Let's tear it off of there. Let's find it doesn't fit. Sometimes they drop the ball there with the non-standardization of sizes, but generally it works out pretty well. Yeah. It maybe sits a little low on that neck. God, that is a rare complaint with these, right? I mean, that is a neat effect. Stuff something in for another character. Give me that Onslaught head for a Build-A-Figure, the red Onslaught, in a completely different wave. Throw it in with Kitty Pryde. Stuff like that, man. I love it. I love it. Be creative. Think creatively. I have other tiny, fleshy hands that I could swap that one for. I looked, and all I have is other little tiny yellow fists. But you could have some big yellow mannish hand if you really wanted her doing something else with that. Now, the Marvel Legends Retro Carded Rogue stands about 6 3/8 of an inch, it looks like, to the top of the hair. Do you think your doctor would measure you to the top of the hair? Let's bring in a couple of figures for comparison. Okay, here we have the Warlock Build-A-Figure wave Cyclops and the retro carded Wolverine. This is the costumes the characters appeared in on the cover of the Adjectiveless X-Men #1, or rather on the many connecting covers. And then you kind of notice how orange Cyclops is. Here she is next to the characters with the matching yellows. Yeah. Old Scotty, also in his jacket. How fun. From the Love Triangle 3-pack, of course. The Wolverine head is from that same pack, but the body is, guess where? The first appearance pack. Tried to keep the Rogue in the same spot for consistency across these, but I keep knocking her over. Reminds me of a certain ex-girlfriend of mine. Couple more characters that she's connected to on a personal level. Something about that just looks good. I mean, it's gonna look better with that retro card gambit, but... And here she is with her ladies, her shopping buddies. Definitely getting their hair did, you know what I mean? Gee, this legit took me like 10 minutes to get Jean to stand. My goodness. She is, of course, from that Love Triangle 3-pack. For whatever reason, we've seen all three of those characters now. No, 2 and a head. And that Storm, retro carded, of course, the silver or white costume. People were coming in there and buying up stacks of the Gambit and Rogue and not touching that Storm like she ain't nothing, you know what I mean? Like she's not worth it. That figure is dope. People were going nuts for that, right? You know what, bro? You ain't worth it. No, I'm kidding. You're all worth it. And then we got the Marvel Legends Bucky Cap Deadpool. And her brother from another mother, Kurt Wagner. In the Munich Circus. He was known as the Incredible Nightcrawler. I want to get all the 90s X-Men right here, dude. But we got the Sentinel coming on Friday. We're going to have everybody here for that. In summary, I just want to say I love this figure. This is just excellent representation. It really nails that look, that feel. Fits right in. The uniformity with these Marvel Legends. It's something that other companies could stand to look at. I get it, they're using a lot of the same bodies and pieces, but I also think that's a lot of fun, man, to be able to rip these up, and they're basically kit bashing on their level and meting out new parts where it's necessary. You know, in the case of Rogue here, what more could they have done? You know what I mean? I would venture a reworking of sort of the head system. Like if you put that on a swivel and you like notched deep into the hair, you could maybe do something there to get her to look back more. As it stands, that's the only real gripe, is that the head doesn't have a whole lot. But look at the look of the thing, man. It looks great. It looks great. But if I could have kicked her head up a little more, I would have. Double jointed elbows, bicep cuts, man, would be money. But I am stoked with this, man. I don't see how anyone could be mad having this in their collection. Anyway, thanks for being here, guys. Like, comment, subscribe. Let's talk toys. Be on the lookout for that Sentinel review, and if you're licking them, that's lips.
Would you like to know more?